The ballot language for the proposed Arizona Abortion Access Act is still being reviewed by attorneys. That should be completed next month when they will start the process of collecting the nearly 400,000 signatures needed to qualify for next year's ballot. The initiative was launched a year after the U.S. Supreme Court overturned Roe v. Wade, which protected a woman's right to an abortion. Arizona still has a near total ban on abortion on the books, but the so-called territorial ban that dates back to before Arizona was a state is tied up in court and is not in effect right now. Currently, Arizona bans abortions after 15 weeks with no exceptions for rape or incest. The proposed amendment to the Constitution would greatly expand access. In your initiative, you guys arrived at protect abortion access up to viability, typically defined as 24 weeks, 22 to 24 weeks. How did you arrive at that?
Well, I'm going to push back for a second and challenge the idea that viability is 24 weeks, right? Because we know that every pregnancy is different, so viability is kind of a moving target. So the way that we drafted the language for the constitutional amendment allows for a medical provider and a patient to make those decisions and takes politicians out of it and takes arbitrary lines of weeks out of the calculus.
Opponents of the initiative argue that the ballot measure is too vague and could lead to late-term abortions. Polling in Arizona indicates that 90% of voters here think abortion should be legal in some way, shape, or form, but polling results can vary depending on how the question is asked. In the newsroom, Dennis Welch, Arizona's Family.
Dennis, thank you.